You know, behind every single app you use, every meal you eat, every car you see on the road, there's this hidden system. It's a powerful engine that takes raw ideas and resources and, well, transforms them into the world we actually live in. And let me tell you, how that engine works, it's gone through some absolutely wild changes.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like the setup for a bad joke, right? But the answer really gets to the very heart of what we're talking about. The truth is, they all depend on this incredibly complex, perfectly timed dance of people, materials, and technology just to exist. And that dance is everything.
Well, there's a formal name for this dance: operations management. Think of it like the rule book for how everything gets made and delivered. But here's the thing. That rule book isn't set in stone. In fact, it's been torn up and completely rewritten multiple times over the last century. So let's dive in and see how it all went down.
All right, so let's rewind. Our story starts in the age of mass production. And the goal back then, super simple. Make a ton of stuff and make it cheap. Efficiency was king, and variety, that was the enemy.
And nothing sums up this whole mindset better than this classic line from Henry Ford. See, this wasn't about giving you options. No way. This was all about mastering one single process so perfectly that you could achieve mind-boggling scale and super low costs. It was a revolution, for sure, but a revolution built on making everything exactly the same.
So what was the recipe for this? Well, it was pretty straightforward. First, you standardize every single part so they're all identical. Then you have workers doing one tiny repetitive task over and over and over again. And quality? That was basically an afterthought, something you'd check for at the very end of the line, after all the work was done. If something was wrong, mistakes were just seen as part of the cost of doing business.
And for decades, that was the only game in town. But then, something changed. A totally new philosophy started bubbling up from post-war Japan. And honestly, it was about to shake the entire Western industrial world to its core.
And the impact? Whoa, it was staggering. You take a giant like General Motors. I mean, these guys had dominated the market for decades. And for them, this new competition felt like an earthquake. Suddenly, that market share they thought was rock solid just started to crumble, losing huge chunks to these newer, more nimble, quality-obsessed competitors.
This was just a fundamentally different way of thinking. The old way treated quality like something you check for at the end. The new, lean way embedded it into every single step of the process. The goal wasn't just to catch mistakes anymore, it was to prevent them from ever happening. Every single worker became a quality inspector. And this idea, this continuous improvement, it didn't just stay in factories. It spread like wildfire, changing everything from how we build software to how hospitals are run.
Okay, so after quality became the new standard, another demand started to pop up, and it was supercharged by the rise of the personal computer, customization. Suddenly, people didn't just want a good product, they wanted their product, built just for them. And, of course, they wanted it now. Michael Dell just captured this new obsession perfectly. In the crazy, fast-paced world of tech, a giant warehouse full of parts wasn't an asset. It was a huge liability, losing value every single week it just sat there. So the whole game shifted to building stuff to order, eliminating inventory and making speed your competitive weapon. And hey, this wasn't just happening with computers. Just look at the auto industry. Getting a custom Mustang back in 1996 took almost 2 months. Today, Ford's operations can get it to in just over 2 weeks. That incredible compression of time is a direct result of mastering this new way of thinking. Then, the internet arrived, and the rulebook got torn up all over again. Globalization and digital tech didn't just speed things up, they fundamentally changed the geography of business. All of a sudden, your headquarters, your factory, and your customer could be on completely different continents. This gave rise to what we now call the transnational company. It's a business that isn't really from anywhere. Just look at this example. They might have their finance HQ in Tokyo, develop their products in Taiwan, and run sales out of Silicon Valley. Nationality just becomes secondary to whatever gives you the best operational advantage.
And nowhere is this change more obvious than in retail. I mean, think about it. The traditional store had a physical address, fixed hours, and a one-way flow of info. An online giant like Amazon, it exists everywhere and nowhere. It's always open, and it turns the transaction into an interactive exchange where we, the customers, become the source of knowledge through reviews.
So what this means is that when you're online, you're not just getting a product. You're getting what some people call an offer. It's a whole bundle. You get the economic part, the thing you bought, but you also get informational value from reviews and data, and even emotional value from feeling like you're part of a community. The operation has to deliver on all of that.
So where does that leave us? This engine of the modern world is faster, more global, and more customized than ever before. But now it's facing its next great challenge, and it's one that involves all of us.
87%. That's a huge number. That's how many consumers are now demanding something totally new from the companies they buy from.
It's a demand for transparency. It's not enough for a product to just work well or be cheap anymore. People want to know the true cost to the planet and to society. And that's putting immense pressure on operations to be not just efficient, but also really, really responsible.
This pressure is leading to some pretty radical new ideas, like cradle-to-cradle design. See, the old model was cradle to grave. You make it, you use it, you throw it away. But the new goal is to eliminate the idea of waste entirely. Just imagine a sneaker designed so that when you're done with it, the sole can be composted and the fabric can be completely recycled into a new pair. That's the future of how we make things.
And that brings us to our final question. The next evolution of this unseen engine won't just be about speed or cost. It's going to be about sustainability and ethics. So who gets to write these new rules? Is it the companies who build the products? Is it us, the consumers, whose demands shape the market? Or is it the governments who set the policies? The answer, most likely, is all of us.